The Chantecaille side looks vastly different than the Chanel side. Thank you so much for joining me for this Get Ready With Me featuring a few months of favorites. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and just add a little bit of moisture to my hands. Are so dry. So I've got the L'Occitane. This is the hand cream that I talk about all the time. So this is one of the larger sizes. I have lots of the smaller sizes in handbags and definitely always have one with me. A little bit of Chantecaille's Lip Potion just to hydrate the lips. We're gonna go in with SPF first. We're headed to dinner, so this is my favorite combo. A little bit of SPF and some very, very sheer foundation. So we're gonna go in with the Odacite SPF 50 Mineral Drops Tinted Sunscreen, and I recently picked up the shade 3, and actually I think it's better for me than 2.5. Well, at least for the summer. This is 3.0. I'll do half and then we can see the difference. So it's got just enough coverage. It reminds me a little bit of the same level of coverage of, say, something like the Chantecaille Future Skin Gel. It reminds me of that level of coverage. You can still see the skin though, which I like. And it's more of a serum-y texture here. So it's actually a little bit deep for the center of my face, a little bit light for the forehead. So it's somewhere between those two shades, so I think it works nicely. So you do see the glow. You've got to like the glow for this. It doesn't dry down like a lot of other products do. It does maintain this like dewiness. So anytime I wear this, my husband does say I look shiny. So it depends on your description, the words you choose to describe the look. So, oh, you can see the difference there. I just pumped that out, and then this has been on my hand for a moment. So you see that it does deepen a little bit here. And you can see on the face too. It's a little bit lighter going on, and then it gives me a little bit more color. I mean, I feel like you can even hear the moisture in there. So if you have dry skin and you're looking for more serum-y SPF, this might be a good one. You can see if you put too much, you can see the product on the face. So just being careful not to add too much or to add thinner layers at a time, but not a lot at one time, because then it gets kind of like makeup-y. Okay, I'm just gonna let that settle in for a moment. We're gonna go in with, oh, by the way, this was the Blend and Smooth brush by Chantecaille. I have another Blend and Smooth brush. Actually, it's still here. So I have a new Blend and Smooth brush by Chantecaille, and I'm going to use their Future Skin Gel right in the center here, just for a little bit more coverage. The finish on this is not as dewy as this, so it's going to take down a little bit of that glow as well. This is in the shade Nude, and this works well. This SPF works well with other foundations like the Hermes foundation. The reason I chose this though is because I wanted something more casual, and you can see it's a little bit lighter, but you're going to see it all start to come together. It'll do a little bit more coverage here where I need it, and it's going to help kind of smooth and blur these pores a little bit more, just because of the texture not being as dewy as the SPF. I'll show you half again. Then this way we don't need as much concealer either. So here we have the side with a little bit of the foundation on, the Future Skin Gel, and then without. So you can see there's a little bit more coverage here and a little less glow. So it's kind of diffused that a little bit, made it a little bit softer looking. And it's also a little bit lighter, so it's gonna help kind of bring the center of my face back to the original shade that it is. Typically, adding a light shade on top of a deeper shade doesn't really work. At least for me it doesn't, but in this case it's just enough. Not really changing it that much, but just brightening it a little bit. Kind of like what concealer does. I'm gonna try on the various, hopefully this doesn't mess my hair up too much, it's a little bit, got some makeup in there. We're going to use various concealers now because there are so many that I like and I'm still testing out. Hopefully though, the shade match will help in terms of which one to pick. I do enjoy the Chanel, the new Chanel Le Beige concealers. And these are the, I'm showing you this because it's got that Le Beige kind of beige tone on there. So I have two shades, B30 and B40. So I'll show you a swatch. So you've got 30 and 40. So we're going to go in with shade 40. It's just a better shade match for me. Let's go with B40 under the eye. This is definitely more fluid than, say, the Chantecaille concealer. So I'm going to leave that there so we can see the difference, and then I'll show you the difference between these two in a second. But I'm going to go in with Hazel before this sets too much. Typically, I wouldn't let them sit this long, but I want to show you the difference. So here's the 40 by Chanel, and then Hazel. B40 by Chanel, and then Hazel. Chantecaille, but you can see the difference in texture. For the Chanel side, I'm just going to use my clean hands here. I mean, it's just very, very fluid. I can just feel it here on application. Okay, and then for this side, I'm going to use a brush because we're not as fluid here. Okay, actually, a good illustration of the difference in the density and the texture of these. So the Odacite, the SPF that I had on, had definitely a dewier finish and had a more fluid, also more fluid kind of feel to it and application. This is more similar to the Chanel concealer. So if you like that texture, more fluid, more glide to it, then you'll like the Chanel concealer. If you are looking for something that's more like the Future Skin Gel, where it's not matte, it's definitely not matte, but it's just more second skin-like, less dewy, then the Chantecaille might be interesting. So let me show you the swatches. I'll show you them next to the Chanel. So I have two shades. I have Almond and I have Hazel. There's Almond and that's Hazel by Chantecaille. Almond, Hazel, and then you have B30 and then B40. So you can also see density and texture differences. And while I like the Sarah Creole concealers, they're a little bit more serious right now than the look I want to go with, which is very natural, very everyday. So I'm going to go in with this Chanel, not their concealer, it's one of their color correctors in Peche. So I have Peche and I have also, I keep calling it Peche. I think it used to be called Peach is what it's called here. And this one is in Apricot, which is too deep for me. Actually, a blend might be ideal, but we're gonna go in with Peach first. Let's see how we're doing. We're just gonna go in with this for the dark spots. This one has more of a matte and very opaque finish compared to the other two. Concealer is one of the most powerful things that I can use because I only have a couple of areas where I need to conceal, under the eyes and dark spots. Otherwise, my skin is actually, I'm looking for a brush. My skin is actually in quite nice condition otherwise. So I like to just show as much skin as possible on my face. And it's interesting, I think maybe the area someone lives in and the way other people do their makeup, I always like to see what's important in terms of an aesthetic look. So there are a couple of interesting observations I've made about the area I live. Usually it's like skin on display. People have a lot of work done to their skin, and so then they like to show their skin without much makeup at all. I feel like that is kind of an aesthetic. The other aesthetic is there's a lot of work done on the face, and that's also a very specific aesthetic. I think between the two, I fall more into the category of skin, as much skin as possible showing, looking very natural. So I'd love to know what the makeup style is around the places that you live. And I'd love to know if your makeup style is consistent with where you live. I definitely think I'm more skin focused than anything else. And that hasn't always been the case. I think I was definitely more makeup focused at one point, but definitely skin focused. And I think the challenge of having great looking skin is part of it. Like, it seems so difficult now to get skin that looks even and healthy. So I think that's one of the reasons why people have a skin first aesthetic when they've been working on it so much, which makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I'm starting to see that this color is definitely more color than I'm used to. And you know where you see it is right here, like this separation, because I don't like to put makeup too close to my eye like base makeup, so I can see the difference there. So if you're like me and you're interested in the Odacite, just know that 2.5 is on the lighter side, 3.0 is on the more rich side, and probably some blend of the two is the ideal shade, which is about right because that's typically how it goes for me. I'm never one shade or the other. I'm always kind of in between, whether it's an undertone issue or a richness issue. So I wouldn't mind picking up 2.5 in the Odacite because I feel like I'll use them both anyway and just kind of blend them as needed, especially based on the time of the year. So right now, a little bit more color is fine, but you can see it does it doesn't set really well. It definitely will move. So just know that it's not gonna completely set on combo skin, which is what I have. Dry skin, you'll have to let me know if you have that and does it set really nicely for you? I'd love to know. And I'm just looking for this pencil I recently rediscovered. I heard something fall down. I see it, it's all the way over there. So this is the brow pencil in Taupe. And when I apply it, I just apply it really lightly up in the front here. Same thing here. Remembered I had this. I'm gonna use this to just kind of mop up some of that extra hydration there. This is a beauty blender, especially right here. Here. I'm gonna let that glow on the center of my nose though. Sometimes I highlight there to highlight that area. We'll just let it highlight with some glow. There's nothing on this beauty blender. I'm just using it to soak up some of that hydration. Nothing new here. We've got, ever since I got it, I've been using it. It's the Chanel palette, the Beige palette in soft, and I go in with this color. It's like a khaki color, and I say khaki because there's a slight hint of an olive tone in there, and it cancels out redness, which is what I like to do on my lids, just like this. And there goes the air conditioner. I'll get that in a second, and then underneath as well. So just like that, it cancels out the redness, you can see. And I'm gonna repeat it over here. And then I'll get the air conditioner. Okay, and then I recently did a video where I had eyeliner on and I thought, oh, I really miss eyeliner. So I remembered one of my very favorite eyeliners, in addition to, I think the one I wore the last time was the one by Chantecaille, really beautiful. By the way, their sale usually happens in July. So if you're thinking about picking up any of their products, an eyeliner would be a great one in Violet Damask is what I had on. I also love Victoria Beckham's eyeliners, and I went back and looked at her shades. There were a couple I haven't tried yet, but I love this one in Jeans. So I'm gonna apply that really close to the lash line. And then I'm going to use the smudger. I love the smudger on their eyeliners. And when I add it, I don't go all the way to the front. I add it maybe like 2/3 of the eye, starting a little bit past this point right here and going to the end. So about right here and then to the end. Really close. Now that we have the eyeliner, we're going to take this shade in the soft palette and just apply that on top. Just right in the center. And I've got the Fossil Long Slash back, so I'm going to go in with that. It's by Chantecaille. Okay, now that we have mascara on, a couple of things about this mascara, where to go, that I forgot about because I haven't been using it for a while because I needed a new one. Chantecaille kindly sent this to me. And I remembered that this mascara can be applied after it's been on for a little while. So some mascaras I've got to continue working on that side and then let it set. And then once that happens, I can't really do anything with it anymore because it'll start flaking or doing something strange, or it'll start clumping together. This mascara, however, I can go in, let it dry, and then go in again and add more, and it kind of separates them. It helps them look better even. And this mascara can be added to the lower lashes, and my lower lashes are wispy. Not all mascaras can be added to my lower lashes without really weighing them down and looking spidery. So this does a nice job on those wispier lashes. If you have that kind of lash on your upper lashes as well, you might want to try this. It's not heavy at all. There are reasons why I still go back to that mascara time and time again. We're gonna freshen up the under eye area a little bit, going in with, again, Chanel's B30 here. I just like to do that after. I mean, it makes more sense to do eye makeup first and then do concealer. But sometimes I think if for demonstration purposes, it can be difficult to see the concealer really how powerful it is when there's already makeup on. When there's a contrast like mascara and eyeliner, kind of hides imperfections of the skin. That's why I like to go with concealer first for demonstration purposes, so you can really see the effect on the skin. Just blending this in here. Again, this is B40. It does feel very serum-like. And then we have here the one by Chantecaille in Hazel. And then I'll use my clean hands to just blend that in so you can see what that looks like as well. There's definitely less of a serum texture here than on the Chanel. Let's go in with blush. There are a couple of blushes I've been pulling for. They are not new. And I had a question about powder versus like a more gel powder, not gel powder, a gel blush. For my particular skin type, I require concealer, and because I have concealer, anything that has any kind of hydration in it will move things around. I mean, there are a couple of stick blushes that do really well. A couple I can think of offhand. The Victoria Beckham, that's very beautiful. The one in Measure, the stick blush in Measure is beautiful. A couple of the Chanel blushes, like the 1 in 20, if you're looking for something tawnier, that one's beautiful as well. And that seems to work. But other than that, anything like even this product, let me know if you want to do a rundown of all the Beige products I picked up. I love the idea of this. It just is more difficult to work with than say something like a powder. So I can use this powder. This is Chantecaille Sea Turtle, and I'll put this on this side because I don't know, have I ever shown a side by side? I love Sea Turtle because it has that peachier tone. It also serves as a little bit of like a powder of sorts because it'll take down that glow right in the center, which is where I want to take down that glow a little bit. Really beautiful, more traditional blush type product. The other one, of course, still is Valentino 09. I'm going to show you it on this other side. They both do very similar things. They blur the appearance of pores. They help get some color on there, help me color correct a little bit. They both have just a slight bit of warmth to them. And I'll show you the difference. There's just a hint more luminosity with the Valentino than the Chantecaille, but they are very similar in their appearance in terms of their shades. So you can see why I pull for both of them. Okay, and then let's go in with a lip and let's do hair. I know there was a question about my hair and I have done a demo and it hasn't changed since then, but maybe some of you are new here, so thank you so much for joining me since I did the demo. And really the best way to do this, and maybe I should do a short, let me do that really fast and then we'll add a lip. I just made an interesting observation about these concealers because I know they feel different going on. The Chanel is much more fluid, it feels smoother, there's more glide. The Chantecaille doesn't have that same feeling. It's not as serum-like, but now that I'm looking at them side by side, and I haven't done a side by side yet, and I can do this for you, and we'll see if this is an anomaly. The Chantecaille side looks vastly different than the Chanel side. So here's the difference. I don't know if you can see. I'm going to try and smile. You can see, and I don't know if it's this eye, so we're going to have to try it and switch places and see if there's a difference in the texture under each of my eyes. But that's an initial first comparison. I don't think I've done a side-by-side yet. So this is Chantecaille Hazel. This is Chanel B40. So yeah, it definitely looks smoother over here. And what I find interesting about this is because of the texture of the initial application of the Chanel, feels like it's going to be much more hydrated, feels like it's going to be smoother, it feels like there's going to be more of a glide, but then the result is different. So I'm not going to say that that's my final observation about this. It's an initial observation. We will definitely have to switch sides and do a test again, and then I'll watch this over time with both of them. But this definitely, the Chantecaille side definitely looks smoother and more hydrated, which is almost surprising. Now the other difference though is that this hasn't moved anywhere. This is pretty much stayed put. Now over here I can see, now I did apply it twice. It's just the faintest, I mean it's almost not measurable at this point, but there's just the faintest amount, because I'm looking really closely, of a little bit of gathering. Oh, and I'm just noticing there's stuff on my eyelids here. Just remove that. Just the slightest amount. It's moved a little bit, but it's like, again, it's not measurable in any way. I mean, really having to look with a magnifying mirror to see that. So that is very interesting. Let's go ahead with the lip. I'm going to go ahead with Wash Beige. It really has been my go-to. I have two of these, 286. It's just one of those perfect lip shades that I rarely encounter. I just ate a pretzel, so if I have any salt here, that's why. Yeah, you'll have to definitely let me know if you have both of those concealers, the new Chanel concealer and the new Chantecaille concealer, and if you tried them side by side, because I'm really now very curious if that is consistent if you do a side by side. And that is it for the final look. Something very effortless, easy to apply. We've got SPF on as well, and then these are just really have been go-tos for me. They are consistent. I know what to expect from them. They look good over time. Again, concealers, we're gonna have to give those a good test. So I will rank those for you, or let me see. Let me know the best way you'd like to see all of those concealers compared and what your needs are. I'd love to know, that way you can format the video so it makes the most sense. And let us know what your favorites are and how you've been using them. Please leave those tips and tricks in the comment section below. That is it for today's video, so please take care of each other. Stay well if you enjoyed this video. If you learned something, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. So it's somewhere between those two. I think that it kind of hides the imperfections.